REN21 is the renewable energy policy network for the 21st century. It's a multi-stakeholder network which brings together governments, international organizations, industry, NGOs and research and academia. It's an organization which is building on its network, and it's building on a community of international experts participating in all our activities. We're meeting in a quite interactive space. We have a facilitated team. We have 200 experts from 80 countries and 150 organizations coming together as a multi-stakeholder community and feeling that they are in a safe space where they can work together and talk with another on a peer-to-peer basis. And this is something which is really interesting because we do have examples where players from official organizations are sharing these small insights which you would never find in an official announcement or in an official space. So when we see that, for instance, renewable energy is not advancing in end-use sectors like heating or transportation, or that there really needs to be an international debate about more decentralized energy systems, this is basically the space to come and meet with many players and start imagining this.
We expect a lot of exchange of ideas, of innovation, to bring forward really the uptake of renewables in an accelerated way in the near future.
We're having this great opportunity here in Berlin to work together between two very established programs. One is the REN21 network, and on the other hand we have the Renewable Energy and Efficiency Week that has been organized by German Development Corporation for many years now. REN21 has been really at the forefront to bring renewables into the mainstream, while here for the Renewable Energy Week we have lots of representation from developing countries and emerging markets, countries that are in dire need of new energy solutions that are clean, that are cheap, that are affordable, but that also work. And I think bringing our experience together is an excellent opportunity, and Berlin is also a very good place to meet.
The most interesting thing about the transport session which I have been attending is the cross-sectoral discussion which we had. So we had both the alternative fuels, biofuel experts, we had the electric vehicle experts, we have mobility experts sitting together in one room discussing how we can integrate the transport system together, but also integrating the transport to the overall energy system, which is something quite important. We stuck in bubbles and silos for quite some time, so this is something which we are reaching across.
The main takeaways from today's transport session were the need for more integration overall, more integrated planning for low-carbon transport, more integrated policies, more cross-sectoral policies and enabling policies for decarbonizing transport as a whole. And also thinking about the supply and demand aspect. So there are low carbon technologies already available. We need to just think more about the behavior change aspect, so reducing the overall need to take transport and optimization of the different modes. There's a need for more information sharing, both within the sector itself, but then also outside of the sector, and really integrating more of the different stakeholder groups.
The really interesting aspects of this session for me, there were two. One was that the structure of it, we actually had some real cross-fertilization of ideas. We had a finance person in there, a carbon impact related person, communication, myself in shipping. That brought different perspectives into the mix, and actually it took a little bit longer for us to get to the final conclusions, but they were richer conclusions. And on the content, actually it wasn't necessarily in the groups that we were coming up with the innovative ideas. It was when we actually stood up, walked around, had just that little bit step back, heard some other ideas, that sort of innovation started to flow.
So we don't actually even know how much money is invested in renewable energy heat. There are estimates and there are certain agencies that do that, but that's not a part of the common narrative. Yesterday in the session that we had, which was called Accelerating Finance Flows to Underserved RE Markets, the key takeaway, the top line message that I took away from it is that we all actually speak in different languages, but we're not saying different things.
The key takeaway for me today in the heating session was that there is no international platform on renewable heating. We really need to establish an international platform that brings together people who work in the renewable heating sector, that make technologies to produce renewable heat, the ones that are using this heat renewably. This would be people from industry associations, from NGOs, those who look at the wider energy sector, not necessarily just from the renewable heating community themselves, but a broad group of people that can come together and discuss how we can advance renewable heating on a global scale.
The contribution from renewables is still very low and very challenging as to how to get that number up. And I'm heavily involved in the solar heating and cooling community, so it's really important for me to be able to hear the discussions going on regarding the barriers and how we can expand the markets in that particular area.
REN21 can help raise awareness on renewable heating and cooling. What came up today in the discussions was that we need to better educate ourselves in the renewable energy community, but also the broader community at large. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? What are the potential solutions? It's something that REN21 could really help do. We also need to have better heating and cooling data. So if we find that there's very minimal data existing on the impacts of heating and cooling and on the opportunities of renewable heating and cooling. And finally, we need to make the story sexier. Currently, heating is a complex topic, involves multiple different sources, and we need REN21's help to be able to communicate this in a targeted way to different audience in a way that's more interesting.
I know that the work that you're doing in the energy sector and in renewables, it requires a lot of thought about how you communicate it. And what I just want to say is that this simple, emotive, intuitive message always wins. And that's how we can bring people not just in this room, but outside of this room along the journey with us. So I encourage you to imagine better.
So in the session on the energy systems of the future, yesterday we had a really interesting conversation that started in small groups, and the groups joined together over time, and bigger groups kind of came together at the end for one big idea, which was about how really the energy system of the future needs to be about democracy, democratic principles, and democratizing technologies. So we had a couple main themes around politics, business models, corruption, and knowledge, and getting all of these things together at the end was really about how it's about citizens' choice, being a producer and a consumer at the same time, and really overcoming some of these challenges where big projects invite big interests and big money and big corruption. And there was a lot of conversation around how a lot of the climate-related problems are also related to the way our business functions. The small-scale distributed energy solutions that are coming online now were really seen as a way to democratize all of those things and bring the power back to the people.
I think we have to understand that it's not a one-off academy, it's a process. And I really hope that the second REN21 Academy will be followed by many other ones, because we need to build this knowledge around the sustainable energy transition, not only building on renewable energy, but also on energy efficiency, making sure that every energy system that we use is as energy efficient, in order to make sure that renewable energy will take 100% of the support that we need to see in this world.
Give me a smile, please. Okay, thank you very much.